to select the accounts drop down menu and then select sales. You then need to go to the new button, drop down and select invoice. In the to button, you'll enter the customer's name. You start typing the name. If it comes up, you can just click on it. Otherwise, you can create it on the fly as you go. You then enter the date that you want the invoice to be dated as, and you must enter in your due date. A quick tip here is to put in +7 or +14 or +30, depending on what your due date is, and then that will set the due date to be that many days further on than your invoice date. You can fill details in the reference field if it's applicable, such as you might have a purchase order that's come from your client. In the description, you can put a description of the job that you're invoicing for. So it might be, for example, it might be initial fee for production of a semi-trailer. You then enter 1 in the quantity, the unit price being whatever the price list is, and then you enter the account that you want it to go to. In most cases, it'll be a revenue account, such as depending, it might be sales or professional fees, depending on your Xero setup. At this point in time, if you're using tracking categories, you'll also need to put in your tracking category options, whether it's semi-trailer or estate, because these are fully customizable. It'll need to suit your particular business, so you can select the appropriate one, and you'll have 2 additional columns here. The GST code that's standard is set to each account, so that should be correct. One thing you do need to be really careful about is making sure that your invoice is selected to be either tax inclusive or exclusive, depending on the way that you are calculating your selling price. In this case, we're saying we want to charge the client $40,000 plus GST, so we would make sure that it is tax exclusive. If you were to change it to be tax inclusive, it would make the total invoice price to be $40,000, thus deducting your income amount by the GST. But in most cases, I think it's probably best to work as tax exclusive. Once you are happy, you can click on approve, and this brings up the options to email your invoice to your client. So if you click on email, it'll seek into the contacts area and search for an email address that you've got attached to that particular contact. If it's a new contact that you've set up, this email address won't actually be there, so you might have to enter it manually, or you can open a second session, move into the second session, update your contacts so that when you go to send this invoice, there is a contact in there to be sent to. It's probably helpful to do that because next time you go to invoice them, it will be there and you won't have to re-enter manually. Once you're happy with everything, you can click on send, and that will send a copy of the invoice into your client's email box. It will also keep a tracking of exactly what you've done with this invoice. So down the bottom, when I look at it, I can see that I approved it and I sent it the exact time I sent it. When I step back a little bit, and if I just go back to my sales menu and I look at my outstanding invoices, I can see next to this invoice that it's been sent, and it's a light green. Once the client's opened it, it will change, and I'll be able to see that they have actually opened it. I hope that helps. Please let me know if you have any other questions. There is a function within Xero that does allow you to tag expenses as they come through. So if we go to our purchases area, and I was to go to a purchase, I could assign this expense to a customer, and if I put in Adrian's accountants, then and click on approve. Let me just get this to approve. It's a rather large expense to be on-costed, but it works for this example. If I was to then go back into my sales area and I go to open a new sales invoice for Adrian's accountants, I enter my Adrian's here, click on it. I get a message to say that there's a billable expense that can be added. I can click on that expense, select that I want it to be added to my invoice, and it would come across to be added to my invoice with the information from the purchase. So this is a really good way of keeping track of rechargeable expenses. I would then finalise my sales invoice as I would a sales invoice that doesn't relate to unchargeable expenses.